It's a fascinating subject, and someday the field may produce definitive answers to the nutritional questions that concern us, but, as nutritionists themselves will tell you, they're not there yet. Not even close. Nutrition science, which after all only got started less than 200 years ago, is today approximately where surgery was in the year 1650. Magazine images. The image that we see with our eyes is broken down not only into separate color components, but into other components too. It is, rather incredibly, deconstructed into component parts such as horizontal lines, vertical lines, circles, and so on. Allowing a field or plot to lie fallow means that you don't grow anything new on it, don't harvest anything and don't graze any animals on the land for at least a year. Sometimes a field will lay fallow for 2, 3, or even 4 years. Although there had been previous attempts to introduce sound, it wasn't until 1923 that a synchronized sound track was photographically recorded and printed onto the side of the strip of motion picture film and made it onto a commercially distributed movie. Trucks, which may provide environmental edges by carrying everything from garments to appliances to the article of furniture in a very single trip, become a lot of climate-friendly various once a delivery route has several stops or is farther off from a central warehouse. The web exists because of programs which communicate between computers on the net. The web could not be without the net. The web made the net useful because people are really interested in information and don't really want to know about computers and cables. Most of the honey consumed today is processed honey that's been heated and filtered since it was gathered from the hive. Unlike processed honey, raw honey does not get robbed of its incredible nutritional value and health powers. One's first reaction is to wonder whether the members of the anti-slovenliness brigade, as we may call them, are subconsciously reacting to the fast-moving world we live in, and consequently resenting change in any area of life. To some extent this is likely to be true. The National Honey Board recently found that honey has the same functions, but less negative impact. This clinical trial is the third in a series of studies focusing on the use of honey by athletes. The first study determined that honey has a milder effect on blood sugar than other popular forms of carbohydrate gel. Teachers often go through this process at the beginning of a new topic. They also use introductory strategies at the beginning of lessons, which are continuations from previous lessons. Neither the experts nor the media were presenting how global development changes the world. Based on these two insights, Hans Rosling made it his mission to bridge this gap and present the evidence that global development is a reality. A large number of advantages also merit further development and even possible adaptation for residences. Advantages of solar power. Solar energy remains popular because it is both a renewable and clean source of energy. These advantages, along with the hope that eventually nations can use solar power to decrease global warming, ensure its popularity. The more you understand and know about a situation, the more comfortable you will be, and thus the less power your shyness will have over you. Let's take for example, the subject of public speaking. The more you understand and know about a situation, the more comfortable you will be, and thus the less power your shyness will have over you. Let's take for example, the subject of public speaking. For some disability groups, information in electronic format, whether computer-based or web-based, can be more accessible than printed information. For example, people who have limited mobility or limited manual skills can find it difficult to obtain or hold printed material. Demographers note that if current trends in aging continue as predicted, a demographic revolution, wherein the proportions of the young and the old will undergo a historic crossover, will be felt in just 3 generations. Only if we assume that society will remain static can we understand the needs of the future. The way we live today could not have been predicted 20 years ago. The sustainability paradigm fails to recognize this. It is a static view, and thus places limits on human ingenuity. Dogs took longer to resume feeding after seeing these images. The dog's increased heart rate indicated that in these cases they experienced higher levels of stress. In addition, dogs turned their heads to the left when they saw human faces expressing anger, fear, or happiness. The computer scientist from Oxford, who built his own computer from a television screen and spare parts after he was banned from one of the university computers, is a cultural guru as much as a technological one. There is an expected increase in demand for various alternative resources, but people should ensure natural world can still work well to earn the future well-being because the world population rises.